The people who think that JJ McCarthy has an ankle injury, in air quotes, because he was so ineffective in his second start that they just had to bench him. You're already making that face. Walk me through what's going on there and the decision that they made on him last night prior to Thursday Night Football, and when we're going to see McCarthy next. Tom,
I've tried to explain this as consistently and clearly as I can, amidst all the conspiracy theories and the talks of a soft benching. JJ McCarthy has not had a lot of opportunities over 2 years in the NFL to practice football, much less play football. He had his entire rookie season wiped out because of the meniscus injury. Got reps, of course, through the course of this offseason. Week 1, goes out, didn't play well in the first half, but made a bunch of plays in the second half against Chicago on national TV. They're 1-0 in the division. Following week, his fiance gives birth to a child, misses a day of practice. It was already a short week. Game didn't look good, but he also got hurt, suffered a high ankle sprain in that game. So we have literally seen one full game of healthy JJ McCarthy. And by the way, he hasn't even practiced on consecutive days in a full capacity since before week 1. And so what the Vikings have tried to do is take a very deliberate approach to getting JJ McCarthy not just 100% healthy, but 100% in a groove and ready to go out there and play well. They were hopeful that was going to be right after the bye and he'd be able to do it against the Eagles and then the Chargers when they were playing 2 games in 5 days. But when I was told during the bye, hey, he looked good on the field last week, but the ankle's not 100%, that was a pretty good tell that between JJ, the medical staff, the Vikings coaching staff, they just didn't feel like he was already all the way there. You listen to Kevin O'Connell post-game last night. He made abundantly clear what I've been saying, which is that all signs are pointing toward JJ McCarthy being back in the lineup this week against the Lions. You're hoping that, with a mini bye, you get a bonus practice on Monday, more time for the offensive line that's been beat up, for those guys to get fully healthy here. You're hoping that the entire environment is set up for JJ McCarthy to go out there and have success. That is certainly what the Vikings are banking on after already playing more games with Carson Wentz than they ever intended or hoped or wanted to going into the season.
So do we see him against Detroit next week?
That is my anticipation, is that we'll see JJ McCarthy unless there is some type of setback, unless he tells the coaches, hey, I just don't think that I can go. He's had 6 full weeks now to recover from an injury that, by and large, that type of high ankle sprain is 4 to 6 weeks. That timeline's up. Again, he gets an extra practice next week, so you can see him 4 times out there. If you see a full participation designation on JJ McCarthy come next Wednesday, that'll be a pretty clear indication all systems go, and he's going to be out there for a tough game against the Lions. The other thing that I want to say, Rich, and it's less about, though certainly some people bring it up, but I heard a lot about it on the broadcast last night, and I see a lot of it on social media. And it is the question, and it's a fair one, when you see those side-by-side graphics of Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, and you hear over and over again, how could the Vikings have let these guys walk? Boy, they must really be regretting letting those guys walk. I think Kirk Herbstreit last night said it's buyer's remorse. Let's just take a quick review, and hopefully I've got a couple of minutes here. Let me take a quick review of the Vikings quarterback approach through this offseason. The guiding light of everything they were doing was they believe in JJ McCarthy. They drafted him at number 10 last year. They believe he's going to be the starting quarterback sooner than later. So whatever they did in terms of adding another quarterback, it needed to meet a couple criteria. One, it couldn't be so expensive that it hindered other roster building. Namely, they felt like they needed to rebuild and get bigger, more physical on the interior offensive and defensive lines. And number 2, it couldn't be such a commitment that it effectively stalled the progress of JJ McCarthy. So they did make an offer to Sam Darnold. It was a shorter term type of an offer. There was a point at which, because of the way the quarterback dominoes were falling, it was not clear that Sam Darnold was going to get a big offer in free agency. And ultimately, even the deal he ended up signing with Seattle wasn't like an off-the-charts, top-of-market type deal like you might see under other circumstances for a guy who just went 14-3, is still young, and is playing the best football of his life. Then the Seahawks saw an opportunity. They trade Geno Smith. They get a third-round pick, and then they also acquired Sam Darnold for less money than Geno wanted from them. That's how he ends up there. Plan B then was, let's re-sign Daniel Jones. And they had a comparable offer on the table, very similar to what the Colts ended up giving Daniel Jones. But what they found out was Daniel Jones was actually leaning toward going to Indianapolis and effectively was thought that his opportunity was better there. So they pulled their offer from Daniel Jones. And at that point, it was abundantly clear Daniel Jones would have been a short-term type of solution in Minnesota. It's now going to be JJ McCarthy's team. Obviously, the third thing that comes up is Aaron Rodgers expressing interest in coming to Minnesota. That was certainly something that they at least talked about, as you tend to do with a 4-time NFL MVP quarterback. But again, they felt like that was going to be something that was going to stand in the way of the development of JJ McCarthy. All of which brings me to some of the posts I was seeing last night, basically being like, just throw JJ out there. It's going to be bad. And if it's bad, just get rid of him and bring in something new for 2026. Aren't we literally having the conversation right now about other teams giving up on quarterbacks and what Baker's doing now, what Darnold's doing now, and Daniel Jones? They're trying to do something, Rich, that's unorthodox and outside the box and frankly uncomfortable for a lot of people. Why isn't JJ playing? Because Kevin O'Connell doesn't think that's the right thing right now. This week, he's finally close to full health on that ankle. He's going to get an actual week of work. Let's see what JJ McCarthy does for the rest of the season and then revisit all those conversations. But they didn't just let these guys walk. They didn't say, we don't need you. They tried on some level to bring those guys back. Ultimately, good for Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. They picked the right spots for him. They're winning games, and putting themselves in position to make a lot more money for years to come.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.